guys, welcome back to my channel. So we're gonna check out what the Cosmic Wonder has got for us today. Some major changes in regards to Spider-Man 4. Apparently a lot of changes. Let's go ahead and see what details he's got for us.
Well, we got a Spider-Man adjacent trailer today, the trailer for Kraven the Hunter. And honestly, I wasn't really sure Sony was still planning on releasing that movie. Let me know what you thought about the trailer, whether you think it's going to be a good movie or another Sony disaster. But regardless, it does get us thinking about Spider-Man. And recently we did get a lot of updates about Spider-Man 4, and it seems like they're going to kind of completely change what the main story was going to be about. In fact, it looks like Sony might actually get their way. Not by their own design, but just kind of how everything worked out with Marvel Studios and the MCU and the direction that they wanted to take everything. And it looks like there have been significant changes, like Kingpin being the villain. Doesn't look like we're going to get that in Spider-Man 4. And it also looks like it's not going to come out before Avengers Doomsday, but after. So, a lot to talk about today, and we will get into Kraven the Hunter and really just the future of Sony in some other videos. But for now, let's focus on our Peter Parker in our 616 universe. Now, after Spider-Man No Way Home, Tom Holland wanted to take a break as Spider-Man, which is perfectly understandable. He had been playing him since Captain America Civil War. He did the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy. He did the Avengers films. He really did a lot, but we did hear that he was renewing his contract and he was going to do 6 more movies. A Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6. 2 Avengers films, which we now know to be Doomsday and Secret Wars, and 1 more team-up film that we don't actually know about yet. And we believe, just based off of how long he's been doing it and things that he has said about not wanting to play Spider-Man forever and wanting to pass the mantle down, we believe that he's going to be done playing Spider-Man after those 6 films. And it's widely believed that Miles Morales will come into the MCU and take his spot. And there is a report about that we'll go over in this video as well about Miles Morales. So when it comes to the story change for Spider-Man 4, Tom Holland himself and Kevin Feige have confirmed that they have been meeting about Spider-Man 4. Kevin Feige even very recently said that a script is about to be given to him for Spider-Man 4. So they're very close to really starting pre-production. But also you have to know that Sony reportedly wanted the film to be very big and a big multiversal film at that. And Marvel Studios kind of clashed with them, saying, no, we want it to be a very grounded film. They want Kingpin as the villain, they want the team up with Daredevil, and they set this up at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, where everybody forgot who Peter Parker was. He was finally on his own. He had nobody to mentor him or take care of him. And it seemed like we really were about to get a grounded and street-level Spider-Man. And from what we had heard, Marvel and Sony kind of came to an agreement about Spider-Man 4. It was supposed to be grounded, but then at the end really kind of get into the multiversal aspect of everything. Which of course makes sense because we are in the multiverse saga, and of course this was supposed to lead up to Avengers Kang Dynasty at the time. But obviously a lot has happened. We are no longer really dealing with Kang in the MCU, and of course now we know that Robert Downey Jr. is returning as Dr. Doom. And based off of what we know, that all happened relatively recently, which means their new plans for the MCU, the direction that they're going to take things, especially with the next 2 Avengers films, those plans have changed as well, which ultimately leads to Spider-Man 4 changing. So now it looks like Marvel Studios wants to go into a big multiverse story with Spider-Man 4. So Sony gets their way, but it's really Marvel's decision that let Sony get their way. According to the CosmicCircus.com, there has been a shift for Spider-Man 4. It's very likely that the storyline with Kingpin might be saved post Secret Wars. As for MCU Norman or Otto, not yet, but soon. And again, that's coming from Alex Perez at the Cosmic Circus, who has a really good track record with scoops. Now, I know Daredevil Born Again is bringing back Kingpin in a big way, and Echo brought him back as well, and so did Hawkeye. There's no doubt that Kingpin is and is still going to be, down the road, a really big figure in the MCU, and hopefully one would imagine that eventually he does fight Spider-Man. And according to Alex, we are still going to get that. It's just going to be after Secret Wars, and I think the biggest reason for that is Spider-Man 4 is going to come come out between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And what we have heard, and what we really expected for not only Avengers Doomsday, but also Kang Dynasty as well, is that the Avengers are going to lose in the next Avengers film. And the result of that will basically be that the multiverse gets destroyed and we get Battleworld. In fact, we even heard from the insider Daniel RBK, who also had a really good track record with scoops for Deadpool and Wolverine. He states that all MCU projects that aren't prequels released between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars will take place in Battleworld. So that explains why there's such a big shift for Spider-Man 4 if that ends up being true. Since Spider-Man 4 will release between the two movies, it should take place on Battleworld. And also, let's be clear, Spider-Man is still very much expected to show up in Avengers Doomsday. But after the Avengers lose and Battleworld is formed and they end up on Battleworld, we could probably assume that some of them might get separated. And since Battleworld is a collection of a bunch of different universes combined, there will be, we can assume, a lot of chaos and a lot of things for superheroes to do. We might get a friendly Battleworld Spider-Man here. And this might not be appealing to some fans, having a Spider-Man movie set on Battleworld, but I think if they do it right, it could be really good. And then, of course, after Secret Wars, we get Spider-Man 5, Spider-Man 6, and hopefully in those movies, we get the battle with Kingpin. We get an MCU Otto and Norman Osborn. Those are going to be the more grounded films. But we are in the multiverse saga right now. That's why it makes sense for Spider-Man 4 to take place on Battleworld if it comes out after Doom, which it looks like now it definitely is. But this does open it up for one more big thing to happen, and that is a reunion with the other Spider-Man. And honestly, this kind of solves a good problem because we've heard that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man were going to appear in Spider-Man 4. And yes, we are in the multiverse saga, but some fans were wondering, well, how exactly is that going to happen? How do they control where they go? So far in the MCU, nobody has really been able to control multiverse travel, with the exception of Kang and Kang variants. America Chavez can do it, but she can't exactly control it. She's probably getting better, practicing. But again, multiverse travel is not something anybody has really mastered or figured out yet in the MCU. So having the other two Spider-Man be able to just find Tom Holland in his universe would take quite a bit of storytelling to really explain how that happened. And I don't think fans would have really liked it that much. But if they end up on Battleworld with Tom Holland Spider-Man, which I think we all know is going to happen, they'd be crazy not to do it, then it's very easily explainable. Because a lot is supposed to happen in Avengers Doomsday. This is where everything's kind of going to hit the fan, and where our Earth is going to collide with other Earths, like the 10,005 Earth, the one with Deadpool and Wolverine, and all of the X-Men. But this will probably be kind of a brief thing. I don't think we'll be able to dive too much or too deep into the stories of what happens between certain heroes. Like, how would Doctor Strange interact with Professor Xavier? How would the Scarlet Witch, presuming she comes back, interact with the Phoenix, Jean Grey? I think there's a lot that's going to go down between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and I think that's why it's actually a good idea to have the movies that take place in between be in Battleworld, because we can get a lot of really cool interactions and a lot of really great stories. That, and it doesn't really feel rushed. You don't have to rush the story of Secret Wars because the story would have played out over the course of a few movies. But what that does mean is, yes, the story for Spider-Man 4 is going to drastically change. The story before was supposed to be a very grounded street-level story where Kingpin is the mayor of New York City. He has made being a vigilante a crime, and he has his own mafia gang that he sends out to try and get these masked vigilantes. This brings on a team up with Daredevil and possibly Ant-Man as well, as what we heard. And this was supposed to make Spider-Man / Peter really think about if he should continue to be a vigilante or if he should abide by the law. Then Miles was supposed to be introduced as well, and possibly Black Cat, although that's just a rumor at this point. It was overall going to be pretty grounded, but now it is definitely going to be a lot bigger and a lot more multiversal than that. But according to Alex Perez, Marvel Studios does still plan on introducing Miles Morales. However, unfortunately, maybe not in Spider-Man 4. Alex P. recently said, I don't want to talk too much, but there is an idea regarding Miles before the multiverse saga is over. It's not big, but it'll be fun. the MCU Miles is still a bit away from showing up.
That's a
that
cool
makes
shot.
it sound like we're probably not getting him in Spider-Man 4. But what's really interesting is that in the Secret War story in the comics, when Reed Richards restores the multiverse, Miles Morales, who comes from a different universe than the 616 universe, ends up in the main universe. The Beyonder brings him to 616. So maybe that's the fun idea that Alex Perez is talking about. Maybe Marvel Studios just said, why don't we just do it just like the comics? Why don't, when we restore the multiverse and do our little soft reboot, we just put Miles in the universe? That could be something that they have planned, and it makes sense that Miles is eventually going to come, because it would make sense, probably the most sense at this point in time, for him to be the new Spider-Man going forward once Tom Holland's Spider-Man is done. Fortunately for us, that's probably a long way away. We have many years of Tom Holland Spider-Man, but maybe they'll introduce Miles somewhere in between. Maybe not in Spider-Man 4, but hopefully we don't have to wait till Spider-Man 6. Hopefully we get him in Secret Wars. So, big shifts in the story for Spider-Man 4. It's a lot bigger now, and it's very multiversal now. So go ahead and let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you not? Let us know. Please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the recent Spider-Man and, of course, MCU news. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
Well then, I think it's all a good idea. What I didn't want to happen was, I really liked all three Spider-Man at the end of, was it No Way Home? I think that was a good idea to kind of see that and let us kind of linger in that moment for a little bit. I wouldn't want them to come back so fast, especially if you're going to have them on screen for a long time. I definitely didn't want a full movie with all three of them. So for us to have to wait to kind of see that is not a bad idea. I gotta say this, and I don't think I talked about it, but I guess apparently because of Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doom, the idea of it throws me off. The idea of it throws me off only because I just can't unsee him as Iron Man, and bringing him back from the dead to play another Marvel character is weird to me, unless, from what I don't understand, he becomes some type of other Iron Man later. If that's what they're kind of going for, then I get it. A superior Iron Man or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know. But hopefully with, you know, from what I hear, Sony wanted all hands all over this. But if Marvel is the one directing this and allowing them to make these changes, I'm hoping that they just... My whole thing is just do everything right. Do everything right. Listen to the fans and just do it. And just leave the essence that we want in the movies. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of these changes. Are you with it? Are you not with it? Do you agree with it? Do you want to see something different happen? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. Hit like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can get notified whenever I pop up on your feed. I'll see you guys later. Toodles!